have is Robert Bob Rivenbark. And Bob has written a book called The Cloud. We're going to find out all about this. It's a science fiction book. And I've been watching Star Trek, and it's bringing back memories of childhood to me. Well, maybe not childhood, teenhood. And then I watched all the movies, and now I'm watching the new series based on the original, and they talk about food, and I'm fascinated. So we'll talk about food with Bob, who also loves to cook. We'll find out about that and much more as Mark Allen Cooks takes to the air. Don't go away. More coming up. And thank you, my dear Carol. She is in charge. She makes all the buttons push and makes us look good, or as good as we can. Welcome to Mark Allen Cooks. We're going to do a marinara sauce or marinara. We'll find out how Bob pronounces it. And we'll talk a little bit about the cloud. So right now, let's bring Bob in from Atlanta, Georgia. Hello, Bob.
Hello, wonderful to be here, Mark. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
Our pleasure. We're going to have some fun. We met about a year ago. We talked about your book a little bit, and I think it's been about a year. Now, as we begin our show, um, we usually have a toast, and I'm going to toast with a French Cabernet. I don't know anything about it other than it is a very inexpensive wine. Um, it was a gift, and our all of a sudden we had all kinds of wine, and boom, I gave it all away. You're drinking your favorite wine, you said.
Yes, this is a Line 39 California Pinot Noir, my all-time favorite. It too is a low-price wine, but it's just outstanding. So here's
Well,
to you, Mark.
here's to
Long
you, the
life,
book, and the upcoming series.
live long and prosper.
Did I do that right? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
You know, that's not too bad. It'll open up. Ooh, that's it's better than I thought for a $7.78 wine. It was a gift, and I know who gave it to me. um, let's talk about you and food first of all. Let's back up. You're a professional writer.
I
You
am.
write copy for commercials and what else?
I've been in advertising for 20 plus years. I've worked in ad agencies all over the country, many agencies in LA. I was in LA for 8.5 years. I've moved back to Atlanta, I think 5 times. I've been back since 2015. So these days I do principally long-term contract work for Fortune 500 companies, and I work 100% remote, which I just love.
Well, then
So,
why don't you come back to LA?
well, I'm going to because we are developing the cloud as a series. That's with Ken Atchity, my literary manager, and a producer here in Atlanta named Oscar Turner, who used to be with Paramount, later became the COO of Tyler Perry Studios, and now has his own production company, Gallery Road Productions. So we are going to be the three musketeers to take it to the studios.
Ken has been on the show twice. We made his chili. We should bring up
Mhm.
his book. Um, we made his chili, and then we made a what? Uh, It's, oh, there it is. Yeah, the cloud. And by the way, it's available on Amazon, and I'll report on it in a couple of weeks because this is my kind of book. During the day, I read financial books, I read all kinds of books except science fiction. And when I go to sleep at night, I read for about an hour, puts me to sleep, and I'm going to read The Cloud. I meant to do it, and I don't know why I didn't do it, but we'll get it done. Um,
Well, thank
is there any mention of food in The Cloud?
There is. It takes place in an unspecified future Los Angeles. Could be anywhere from 50 to 100 years in the future. So at the point where this story takes place, China and North America are a single empire. So there's a lot of Chinese food in this book because Los Angeles is largely controlled by the Cloud, which is a corporation that's headquartered in Hong Kong. And the Cloud has, through their financial expertise, been able to bankrupt the Beijing regime and seize power themselves. And they now have an empire that controls half the world. And they're fighting an endless war with the Caliphate, which controls pretty much all of the rest of the half of the world. And so there's a lot of Chinese food and Asian food in this, and
So,
Asian fusion.
got it. So let me ask you this: is AI is becoming really important right now. Everything
Hmm.
is artificial intelligence.
Hmm.
Is AI involved in the cloud at all?
Very prominently, and the way that the Cloud regime controls people is in two ways. First of all in the middle class are addicted to virtual reality programming, which is total immersion and which will be a reality within 15, 20 years. They also have 24/7 surveillance with AI driven servers that are operated from satellites that span the world. And they can go in and monitor your brain waves whenever they want. And if they find that you have traitorous brain waves, they send a virtual reality assassin called the Mantis, which kills you. And virtual
Wow.
reality has been developed to the point where what you experience in virtual reality is just as real as what you experience outside of it.
Well, let's get cooking, and then
Let's get cooking.
we'll talk more about alien food. I know you've looked up some references for us, but let's start right
Right?
now. We're going to make a special um, marinara. Do you pronounce it marinara or marinara?
Marinara.
Marinara. Okay. So I'm going to
Hmm.
put some olive oil in. We'll have the recipe as Bob has made it for a bigger number of people than what I'm making it for. And I'm going to turn that on. And we're going to let that oil heat up. The other night, in watching Star Trek, I noticed that they had they were serving a brandy, Saturian brandy or something. Are there other kinds of foods from Star Trek that you've researched
Uh,
for us?
yes, I have a long list here from one of the Star Trek websites, and since you mentioned beverages first, I will start with Romulan ale.
That's what
It
it
is,
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's an incredibly powerful intoxicant with an iconic blue color. It's illegal in the portion of the universe controlled by Starfleet, but it is incredibly strong, and you can use it at home with any really strong drink. Like I'm
Wow.
talking whiskey or scotch strength, and just put a little bit of blue dye in it, and you've got yourself Romulan ale.
All right,
And that's been,
we're not gonna make Romulan ale. We're gonna make I believe it's Angel's Marinara or a variation of. So I'm gonna start
yes.
with some garlic. Uh, because I'm only making this for Carol and myself, uh, we're gonna we're gonna have I've cut the recipe way down. Now we like a lot of garlic, so I've kept almost the same the original amount, Bob.
Okay.
and I'm going to let that go. There is almost nothing better than the smell and the sound of sizzling. So
I
that
would
should
have
be.
to agree with you there.
I'm sorry.
I would have to agree with you there.
Got it.
I enjoy
So
that sound very much.
it's, and now I'm going to add onions. Now these are special onions. Um, I love Vidalia onions. You probably get those because they're all the time, right?
Yes, Vidalia is a town about 80 miles southeast of Atlanta, and that's where they grow it. So if you get the bag that says Vidalia sweet onions, that's the genuine article. Don't
And
accept any
these
substitute.
are organic sweet. I don't know where they're from. They are made grown in the U.S. The other day I went to a market, and I'll bring it over here. Uh, this is a Vidalia onion. I've been cooking with them, and apparently they're hard to find. Um, do you
Well,
know what they cost a pound? They're $1.49 a pound here.
well, the genuine article that is authentic Vidalia onions are only grown in one county in Georgia. And so if you've got that seal on it, which I just noticed, that says that that's the genuine article, then yeah, it's going to be pricier than sweet onions made elsewhere because it's only grown in one county in Georgia.
And this one is, by the way, I can't show you any closer, but it is a Vidalia onion. Okay.
Yes.
And that's what I'm cooking with in here
Well, you
because
can't go
I
wrong with
love the
that.
taste.
Hmm.
Now, when those get translucent a little bit more, we'll start adding stuff. This is a very fast recipe. If you're sitting on your couch and saying, I'm going to order fast food again, you don't need to do that. Get up, go to the market, 10 minutes of shopping. We'll have the recipe on our website. Just go to youtube.com/Mark Allen Cooks Your Dinner. We'll have Bob's recipe up there for you. And this is one that is easily variable, is it not, Bob?
It's very easily variable. Allow me to make one recommendation for your tomatoes. I recommend Pomey organic diced tomatoes and Hunt's tomato paste. That's Ken Achiti's favorite, and when I make his Lebanese beans, that's what I use. So I
Got it.
recommend those two.
Yeah, Ken got mad at me. Not mad. I don't like green bell pepper. I don't know why. I like red bell pepper. I like green. I've had purple, and I love orange. But the green, and it's a keystone, a cornerstone of Cajun cooking. So when we made a gumbo with him, isn't that what we made, Carol? We, I switched it to red, so it does change the flavor. Okay, here we go. I'm still stirring. I think it's fine. All right. So the next thing I'm going to add is the tomato paste. I'm going to grab another spoon, and we're going to add that first. And we're going to let that melt down a bit. Now, Bob, you were telling me that this easily can simmer in a crock pot or slow cooker for 6 hours or so.
That's right. It depends on how much time and the quantity. I usually make enough for my wife and I to last, 3 or 4 days. So I double the recipe and let it simmer for 6 to 8 hours. I usually put it on like late at night and let it cook and time it for say 6 hours, and then it's just wonderful. But if you want faster results, you can also use a big boiler and make it on your stovetop. and simmer it for about a half an hour. And
And
then
we're gonna be doing that tonight. Um, you told me that for the fourth, you made this.
I did, yes. Yes, as a matter of fact, we just finished the last of it tonight.
Oh my!
Today's what?
How? What did you make with it? I mean, what did you
Well,
put it on?
we use a low. We're both trying to keep our weight down, so we use a very low carbohydrate pasta noodle that we found on Amazon, and it's wonderful. It actually adapts to whatever sauce you're using. You don't even have to cook it. It comes in packets, and you rinse it out in a colander, turn it 4 times, put it on your plate, heat up your pasta sauce with it, with a little Parmesan, and it's just wonderful. And it doesn't fatten you up like the regular pasta.
I'm gonna add tomato sauce in here now
Hmm.
and stir that up.
I should mention that if you did happen to use red bell peppers, those are very high in antioxidants. Those are
Yes,
actually the smartest choice you could make in peppers.
I love red bell pepper. I eat it raw. I dip it. I roast it. Put
Hmm.
it on sandwiches. Really good stuff for you. Um, Now, in this particular, you mentioned Hunt's tomato sauce, I believe. I'm using Whole Foods 360 tomato paste, and I'm using Contadina sauce. Is that what I did? Yes, because we like the flavor of Contadina. I also think my mom used it. Did your mom used it? And so it somewhat brings back memories. Of course, my mother's spaghetti was she used a packet and dumped it into some meat and stirred it up. I think it was Lowry's spaghetti sauce. Okay,
Okay.
Bob, I think at this point I would add the bay leaf. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Let it simmer a bit so the
Okay.
flavor blends in.
Now, I've got this red wine that we opened up. I know your recipe calls for a tablespoon of it. I'm
But you
going to
know
add,
what?
yeah.
More. Use more. Use more than a tablespoon. Use all you want.
So, um, because you wrote the book, The Cloud, and because AI has become so popular, are you a fan of AI today?
Well, I am cautiously optimistic about it because, as my favorite theologian Reinhold Niebuhr wrote, with every advancement in technology, there's a concomitant potential for a new kind of evil. So I am enthusiastic about it if we use it wisely. It's so new that we don't have guardrails, just as we didn't have guardrails for social media.
Right?
Uh, if we develop those guardrails and we use AI in an intelligent and moral way, it can be an incredible tool that can help humanity in many ways. If it falls into the hands of a corrupt regime like the one I dramatize in my novel, The Cloud, we're in big trouble.
One of the things that I have to think about, I'm a writer, I'm a voiceover guy, and I'm on camera. And they say now that they can take a picture of me, I can read one thing, and they can replicate me forever.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of that in your writing when you're writing advertising copy?
Uh, no, because AI can't put the spin on it. We're not anywhere close to it being able to. Nor do I fear that AI will replace screenwriting and novel writing, which are the other two genres I work in. Uh,
Yet
it's
AI,
it's
I'm sorry, Bob, yet AI has recently reviewed a book, your book. It was the first book reviewed by AI. How'd you feel
that's right.
about that?
I felt terrific about it because the PR firm Henry Roy PR uh, honored me by letting my novel be the first ever to be reviewed by AI avatars, and they simply uh, entered a description of the novel and let the AI program generate the reviews. And it's a great deal of fun. And the campaign is running on TikTok and uh, Instagram, Facebook, and several other uh, social media programs. So that's an example of AI being used for something very positive. It's a lot of fun. Uh,
And at the same time, I don't think AI is going to ever match, at least right now, human creativity. There's a
no, it, it
spark there that it needs.
the Hollywood studios have been attempting to replace screenwriters with AI generated scripts. That's one of the big uh, battles being fought in the current Hollywood writers' strike, which other unions are also supporting. And I think it's going to be won. And ultimately, I don't think AI is ever going to be able to replace the human spirit in creating fiction and screenplays and poetry.
Now, I just added some balsamic vinegar for the recipe. This is an interesting thing that I'm going to add, and that's coriander or dried cilantro. I'm not going to add a lot of it. The recipe does not call for a lot, but I've never seen that in a marinara before.
It gives it some edge that I think you'll enjoy.
Got it. Okay, here we go. And by the way, almost all of my spices that I'm adding a pinch of cinnamon. Now, I'm going to add some basil, and I'm just going to add what I think. I like basil. Now, I'm adding leaf basil rather than powdered, and there's a reason for that. I find that sometimes when you use powdered basil, that it can affect the color of the dish. I'm going to add some oregano, and again, I'm using leaf or dried. When you cook and you see a recipe, Bob, do you invent as you go along?
Absolutely.
This
That's
one,
that.
eh, this one's curry. So all of the Italian Indians out there, India Indians, this is for you. I love the smell of curry, and how much there? Stir that up. I'm going to reduce the heat. Now, if you let this sit for hours, I've made it relatively thick. I'm going to add a splash more wine. And I always put it in the tomato can, and then I'll thin it out just a bit. And I have one more ingredient to add, two more ingredients to add, a splash of chili powder Whoa! Let's see if we can get that back in there. There. I wish you could smell this, Bob, because it
I
does
can
smell
imagine.
great. It
Yeah,
smells
I can
really.
imagine that. And that's going to be like on the edge of your tongue. You're going to taste all of those subtle mixtures of flavor. It's going to be incredible.
And then, last but not least, when I'm making a marinara, I always add a touch of sugar. Sugar and tomatoes work really well together. All right, I'm going to let that sit there for just a moment and come back here and we're going to talk about the book. Okay, as a self promoting individual, I said this to you the other day. Please let me have a part in your movie or TV show.
Okay.
Yeah. If you need
Well,
a
I'll
cook,
do
I'm sorry.
I'll I'll do it. I'll do what I can. I know there'll be a casting director, but Ken is planning to negotiate for me to be a contributing producer. So I will put in a good word for you, Mark.
Got it. And hopefully Ken will want to do that for me as well. We are just
Absolutely.
about out of time. I can't believe how fast this is. This is such an easy recipe. Um, and you can let it sit for, up to 6 hours in a slow cooker, or you can
Absolutely.
cook it the way I'm doing it. I'll let it simmer a little bit more. Let's do a little taste, Bob. Now this is, oh, it's thick. I came up with an idea for dinner. I don't know if Carol will go for it. I would like this on on an Italian um, sausage. I love Italian turkey sausages,
Absolutely. You can't go wrong, my friend.
right? And I hope you can see that.
Hmm.
I've got to let it cool. Oh, I left out one thing. I left out something. But you can do this to taste. I don't cook with a lot of salt because I find that everything has enough salt. You can add salt. This was some ground pepper, and you can add that. You could add cayenne if you wanted, or red pepper flakes. All right, here we go. This is my favorite part of what I do. This is really good.
Oh, I'm so glad, Mark. Glad you're enjoying it.
No, I know it was your recipe, but I did the cooking and I love my own cooking.
Well, and you added some touches that I haven't used, but which I will in future.
Which,
So I'm glad it's good.
excuse me, Bob. You talk. I'm going to eat.
Okay, I'll just mention since we're almost out of time, if everyone would visit www.thecloudnovel.com, you can learn all about the novel. I have 4 sample chapters there, and you can also click through to Amazon to order your copy and or read it on your Kindle.
We're going to bring
And
that
it,
back up because I think on the book, no, all right. I didn't have that. So um, tell us the website again.
yes, it's www.thecloudnovel.com.
Thecloudnovel.com. Bob, thank you
Yes.
very much. What is another dish that you like to make, by the way?
I love Thai, so I love doing pad Thai, one of my all-time favorites.
Oh, Carol will love that one. That's one of her favorites. So I'm going to toast you and the book. Good luck.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful to be with you. I wish I were there to enjoy this meal with you, but perhaps on my next trip out to LA.
Yeah, well, the next time we'll have you come over and we'll cook together.
Wonderful. Look forward
Or
to it.
I'll be in Atlanta. Either way.
Absolutely.
Bob, hold on a second, okay?
Sure.
We've recorded this program today. I just wanted you to know that. But if you have comments, please let us know. You can always make a comment at facebook.com/Mark Alyn Cooks or youtube.com/Mark Alyn Cooks Your Dinner. Carol, thank you. I appreciate your help. You did a great job. And I will see you next time here on Mark Alyn Cooks. Bye bye for now.